Hello everybody, I'm Steve and welcome to Greenside Up. Just looked at my phone a minute ago and it's 3 degrees. Oh, the winter woolies will be coming out soon. But between now and Christmas we can have a lot of mild weather, and if previous years are anything to go by, that is more than likely, even though we do get these cold nights. So today I'm doing seeds to sow in October. Seeds that I think you could safely set off and get growing at this time of year. So we'll crack on with that, and besides which it means I can go inside where it's a little bit warmer. So a couple of little hints on sowing at this time of year. Overnight temperatures are pretty cold, so what I do is I'll sow into a seed tray like this, or a seed tray with modules in, fill them up with compost, sow my seeds, and then I'll take them home and stack them like that in the corner of a kitchen. Every day I'll just come along and check them. As soon as I see signs of germination, I take them away and deal with them. Put them in the greenhouse at home, fetch them down here, put them outside with a fleece over them, whatever you need to do. So it's all about manipulating the temperatures that are available to you. You could even use a propagator at this time of year. I don't see why not. You know, the choice is yours. Whatever you need to do to warm that soil up, because you know, at the minute I've got a massive stack of compost here. This is all going to be quite cold, except for the ones right in the middle, because the temperatures have dropped, and it's not ideal for germinating seeds. Brassicas, however, will germinate at very low temperatures. So if you've got an undercover space like I have in a polytunnel or in a greenhouse, you can sow brassicas direct into the soil in your border, in your polytunnel or your greenhouse. So that's just a couple of little tips of how you can actually sow seeds at this time of the year and rely on them actually getting going, or work towards getting them going and getting them started. Right, we'll have a look now at some of the seeds that I would normally sow at this time of year. What I've actually done is, I'm a good month early this year. I wanted to get things into the ground because I just wanted to get them going really. But we'll have a look at the seeds that you can sow for October. Okay, these are the first of my lettuces. There's 5 types in here I think, and I've got, from the left, Marvel of 4 Seasons, Winter Density, Freckles, Oak Leaf Nivara, and then on the end there, Intred. Now I've already potted them on, moved them on, and I've actually got them planted down here. So just by moving them on and putting them into a growing position gets them going, but by the same token keeping them there keeps them small. Some of these will be potted on again, some will be given away, and these will become replacements if any of those in the bed die, and they could also go in as space fillers. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So moving on from those, I've got spring onions here. You can still sow them now. I'm using here Ishikura, and I find these very reliable, and they just want to grow. They grow really well. In the next tray here I've got some more lettuce. Down at the very front here I've got a maize lettuce. Next to them is red Grenoble, just starting to show, and then there's a line of chard. Again, I've already got some chard in, but I want more to grow. And in here I've got 2 types of parsley, very small at the minute, a curled and a plain leaf, and these are bound for the kitchen windowsill when they come up a bit more and get planted on. Ton of rocket to be planted on yet, and some beetroot. Again, these grow well in the tunnel. Just watch for mice, they love them. Underneath my tomatoes here I've got some mustard greens. Now these ones are Komatsuna, and they're looking very good, and they will just keep going all winter. They're very hardy, and they add a nice peppery hit to a meal. Whether you just wilt them underneath a steak on the plate, put them in a salad or in a stir fry, stir them into a soup, whatever you want to do with them really. They're just fantastic, and as I say, they've got some bite. And on similar theme, the same type of thing again. I've got mustards underneath the tomatoes on this side, and this one's called Red Giant, and we'll see more of those in a minute. In this little part of this bed here, I've got some pak choi. I've got two different types, a red stem type and a white stem type, and they are that basic. And eventually, when all these beans are out, the whole bed will be full of them. And so we'll see more of these in a minute when we go into the other tunnel. But these are a great winter staple, and again, we love them. We just take a couple, normally take one of each colour, and it makes a lovely stir fry or some greens on the plate. And that's really what you want in the winter. You want fresh greens, you know. In this corner we've got some chard. Again, you can sow them now. They'll come up fairly quickly if you use the method I discussed earlier. Put them in the trays in your kitchen, and then you could be planting them out in 3 to 4 weeks. And these are very good for the winter, because you'll get a really severe frost and you'll come and have a look at the plant, and the frost will have flattened them, but within 3 to 4 days they've come back up again and growing again. And this year I had these plants up to over 6-7 foot, covered in leaves, and we were still eating them well into spring. When these do get flattened, just go and eat some of the mustards or some of the lettuce or pak choi or stuff, you know. So it's choices and options. Now moving over to this bed, this is Chinese cabbage. It's a brassica, so you can sow these in the polytunnel now. When you've sown them and you see the first signs of life, do put some slug pellets down, because they'll just chomp through this happily. You can see 1 or 2 holes in leaves down there. So I normally don't have much luck with these, but they appear to be doing quite well this year. But yeah, Chinese cabbage, and this variety is Wong Bok. So in the small tunnel I've got spinach growing. Again, not too late to sow those. These are a variety called Giant Winter. So as I say, you can get these sown, get them on your kitchen floor to heat up, and again you can be planting these in 3 to 4 weeks, so why wouldn't you? And here are more of the pak choi waiting to go in. Again, these were only grown from seed, and you can still definitely sow them now. Any of the Japanese mustards can be sown at this time of the year, and these cabbages, the pak choi cabbages or the Wong Bok. So these are some of my spare plants, and I will use these to fill up holes as plants die, or we take them out and harvest them. These will all be potted on, and well, not all of them, but some of them will be potted on. So I've got spares to put in. We're looking directly at spinach there, the large winter. That's the Komatsuna, tender green. Mustards there's a few there, and some of the Red Giant mustards. And I've even got some of the spare Wong Bok cabbage there to go in. So it's all about having plants ready to go in when a space becomes available, and there will be plenty of spaces. Winter is all about just getting crops out of the ground that you can eat at home, so crops for the kitchen, and in the main they are sort of leafy crops, so your lettuces, your chards, your cabbages, your Chinese cabbages, your mustards. These are all things that are relatively quick growing, relatively hardy, and you can harvest on a regular basis. And this is what winter growing for me is all about. You can grow other stuff. I mean, I've got cauliflowers and proper Savoy cabbages and red cabbage. I've even got Romanesco cauliflowers here, which looks like I might get 2 or 3. So there's a bit of variety there, and some salads, you know, some beetroots and spring onions. This is all good at this time of year. It's a little bit late, I feel, for where I am up here in Cumbria, north of England, to really sow carrots. But if I was going to attempt them, I would always go for a sort of stump-rooted one really for the winter. And I have got some Chardonnay growing and some Parisienne. That's part of another thing I'm doing with Tony Smith as a the carrot grow off challenge thing, silliness that we're doing. But if you wanted to grow carrots, and if you're in a warmer part of the country, maybe Birmingham might be a bit warmer, I'm not too sure, but certainly down south, down towards the south coast, you could probably get away with sowing carrots now and getting a crop from them. So that's worth a try. If you want to put a couple of rows in, why not give them a try? It'll certainly add to your experience and knowledge for next year. So as I say, you can also sow brassicas at this time of the year. Even if you grew a Savoy cabbage and planted them cheek by jowl, you know, maybe in a square metre, you might have 20 or 30 of them. You're growing leaves, and that's the main thing. You can pick a couple and chop them up, and it's a winter green. By the same token, you can also sow kale, and sow a couple of varieties of kale at this time of year. The plants won't get very big over winter, but you can pick them, and that's the thing. If you put, you know, if you've got 20 or 30 little kale plants in there, you can harvest half a dozen and make a meal for 4 out of that quite easily. So that's worthwhile considering. I mean, another brassica that might be worth a try is broccoli. Now I know there's one called Rab, R-A-A-B, and that's a 60-day crop. So, you know, if you sow them in the cold soil that I've got at the minute, I could sow them and grow them on, and then we can get 2 months of lovely weather before Christmas where they grow and harvest as well. So you could have fresh broccoli heads. It's all about thinking about what your temperatures are and what the chances might be, and if you think there's a slightest chance that if you sow something you'll get something from it, give it a go. Don't hold back. It will add to your experience and knowledge for next year, and that makes you a better gardener overall. So just try, just get seeds in, have a go, a couple of quid's worth of seeds, and you might get a harvest winter long. There's nothing better than that. Fresh greens at this time of year, fantastic. Now, it would be remiss of me if I didn't mention broad beans. It's the one thing that many people recommend to grow at this time of year, and it's the one thing I don't. I don't grow them at this time of year. I've never found that for me an overwintering broad bean crop does well for me here. Partly because of the wind. I mean, I could protect them, but it just seems such a faff when I know that there's a broad bean, and the variety is called the Sutton, a little dwarf bean. They don't grow very big. But I can plant them in spring and get a crop from them, a very good crop, very quickly. It's a speedy little plants, so that's why I don't bother with them over winter. But if you're of that mind, and if you want broad beans, you know, 3-4 weeks earlier than you could achieve if you planted next spring, then go for it, please do. And the one that's recommended a lot, and I've grown it before, and it is a good variety, is Aquadeuce. I think it's Aquadeuce Claudia, but just Aquadeuce, you'll find it. And you know, there are a few winter varieties of broad beans, but I say I'm not really that bothered with it. Also worth a mention right now for plants to get in the ground is the allium family. So that's your onions, some shallots can be planted this time of year, your garlic and your elephant garlic. And I'm looking for space now in the next couple of days. I've got a bag full of elephant garlic over there which needs to be got in. My normal garlic, again, I plant that in spring, but you know, if you want earlier garlic, then get some in now, because over winter it will grow and it will get frost and the cloves will split. You know, I take a chance on spring planted garlic every year. Generally I get a frost here from between planting and harvest, so they split for me. So, but it's up to you what you want to do. So don't forget the alliums, your onions, shallots, garlic and your elephant garlic. So if you've got spare seeds, and especially if you're going to be replacing them next spring, get them in the ground now, or get them into some compost in modules and seed trays. Stack the seed trays up at home in your kitchen to get them germinated and started, and get them planted out. You can always grow plants on your windowsill till they're of a decent size. You know, shuffle the plants about, find what works for you, and get some plants in, get some stuff growing in the soil you've got. Why just cover it up for winter? Put something in and learn from it. Next year you might think, well, if I protect that, that might grow a little bit better. if I make a better environment for it. And these are all the things that make you a better gardener. So do try, don't stop gardening for the winter, keep at it and keep sowing seeds and keep growing plants and eating the harvest and enjoying it. But that's it for today. I'll be back in a couple of days with another video, and we'll see you then. Look after yourselves, take care, ta-ra.